coming through, I will get into this story that does seem like it was right for the Twilight Zone. So I'll wait to hear back before I say anything, but if you guys could please let me know when I'm coming through, I would appreciate it. Let's see. All right. You guys said I'm live. Okay. All right. So last week, I was telling you how it was bizarre that the father who met us in New York when we were pounding pavement, who I've been keeping a lot in contact with, I refer to him as the father because he came out with his son, father and son tandem, you see it in the leak. He got in a weird car crash on the 22nd. And then I found out later that my dad was also in a car crash on the 22nd. Well, today my mind was blown even more because the realtor I'm working with, because now that I'm moving out of nowhere after I rushed back from New York because of Sweet Lady's news, the realtor got in an accident on the same day, the 22nd, and that's not it. The worst part of all, Derek, who built the GematriaEffectNews calculator, who I pounded payment with before I got to New York, I met him for the first time in Milwaukee at Marquette, and then he found out that the day we met at Marquette was actually the anniversary of the death of the founder of Marquette, as weird as that is. And his uncle was in a really bad accident on the 22nd, and RIP, his uncle didn't die, but his uncle was driving with his girlfriend in the passenger seat, and his girlfriend was killed. All of these accidents were in the same day, the 22nd. Yasid, my father, my realtor, and Derek's uncle. And it's just like, what in the world? What in the world? And again, just, the organic side of the code, the word crash is 22 in the most pure cipher, all this on the 22nd. But again, just to backtrack, before even the crash thing happened, Yasid kept calling me on the way home. Remember, I had a weird thing happen with my car. When we were coming back from Yale, New Haven, Connecticut. We realized that the town was established in 1684, and then New Haven, Connecticut in Gematria is 84. And then on the way back, it was raining like it was the flood of Noah's Ark. And we were almost back after driving through all this crazy rain, but then because the street was so flooded, the street was covered in water, but you couldn't see that it lifted the manhole cover, so I drove over the manhole and blew out the tire on 84th Street on the way back from New Haven, Connecticut. And again, while I was driving back, Yasid, the father, kept calling me to make sure I was okay because he knew I wasn't rested, and I was driving all the way across country to make sure I'm not falling asleep at the wheel. Wanted to just talk to me about the experience. He's trying to keep me safe from a car disaster, and then he ends up getting in he'd never been in a car crash his whole life. First car crash of his life, almost 50 years old, on the 22nd of the month. And then my dad, who never gets in car crashes, it gets hit in an intersection as well. And they were both hit the morning of the 22nd. And then the one other thing that's bizarre is, the Matrix, hopefully the Matrix doesn't get in a car crash. But he called me when I was driving home, and he was telling me that somebody who's in the Chicago area, I was almost to Chicago when he was calling me and telling me this. I was like 100 miles outside of Chicago. And he's like, yeah, this guy makes YouTube videos. He's making a bunch of videos saying you're a cult leader and talking all this trash about you. And it's too bad because he should have come out to Chicago. Because if you guys missed Chicago, I mean, we went to pretty much every city between Seattle and New York, big city, and stopped along the way. And that included Chicago. Shout out to all the Chicago people. But, the same guy who made all the videos talking trash, he could have come out and pounded payment with us and seen that we're nothing like a cult. We're just a group of people that care about truth and have a taste for knowledge and, forgotten things like gematria, We all share this commonality, but far from a cult. And anyway, he was telling me about this, and he's like, yeah, you should just watch the video and see some of the things you say. And after I got off the phone with the Matrix, I was like, do I even want to listen to this crap? Do I even want to turn this on? But then curiosity gets the better of you. So I'm approaching Chicago, right? And I turn on his YouTube video, and I put it on, and I'm listening to it, and I'm just a few minutes into just starting it, and all of a sudden, traffic comes to a dead stop. And you know, just minutes after turning on the negative video talking all this trash as I'm approaching Chicago about a guy who's from the Chicago area, what had happened is two big rigs just up the road, about 3/4 of a mile, I'd say, up from me, maybe not even that. They crashed and smashed another car, and it looked like there was a fire because, anyway, traffic just ended up being stopped for 6 hours straight. You know, I got lucky on the way across the nation. I didn't have any traffic problem at all. On the way back, really, that was really the only thing. Leaving New York was tough that morning. There was traffic, obviously, in New York, but ended up stuck in one place for 6 hours after a really bad car crash that happened just in front of me right after I turned on the negative video. And a part of me is like, just butterfly effect. It's like, had I not turned on that negative YouTube video, maybe this car crash 3/4 of a mile up the street wouldn't happen. I wouldn't have got stuck in one place for 6 hours. But I got to admit, if there was ever a time I needed to be stuck in 6 hours in traffic, it was that day, because after not moving for 40 minutes, I just turned off the car and went to sleep, and I woke up to the semi behind me honking at me, you know, 5 hours and some minutes later. But I needed the power nap anyway and slept in like a week. That was like the longest I'd slept since I left for that New York trip, which was on Labor Day. If I remember right, that was September 5th. Yeah, it was. And then driving back that day was, I forget, like late into Tuesday maybe, or Wednesday. I lost track of time the next week. But yeah, isn't it weird? Just how can all these car crashes happen on the 22nd? It just blows my mind. And then the worst one yet is Derek just told me today. Derek just told me today because he just heard about what happened with my dad in Yasid on the 22nd. And then I found out this morning about my realtor. And the reason he told it to me is because I was telling about the weird thing that, you know, we were just talking about stuff, and he's like, weird, I got in a crash on 22nd. I was like, what? He said, yeah, somebody rear-ended me too. And then it was about 2 hours ago, Derek sent me the information, and I just thought, what in the world? And then I was thinking more about it with Derek and I, because Derek and I, we pounded pavement at Marquette. Shout out to everybody else, Green Arrow, everybody else who came out to Marquette. That was a good time. And, but that was September 7th. And, man, it's all like, I guess I went to Chicago after that. Yeah, after Marquette, I went to Chicago. We were at Buckingham Fountain the night before the Queen died. Buckingham Palace. But that date, September 7th, can be written 7-9, right? Like 79, which is the 22nd prime number. And, of course, it is the year 22. And then just all this on the 22nd of September. And it just reminds me of that movie from maybe 15 years ago, Crash. You know, about how this incident connects all these lives, how all these stories come together through a crash. In this case, though, it's a bunch of crashes on one day. And again, I don't know what to make of it right now, besides it's just another bizarre story from the organic side. But it almost seems like that scientific thing, for every action there's an equal and opposite reaction. I feel like what we did by pounding pavement and bringing people together, it was like a very positive thing. But again, there's negative forces in the world that don't want to see this stuff happening. And I feel like I'm the epicenter, right? It's like all these people have a connection to me. So anyway, everybody be careful, drive safe. God, when the 22nd comes around next month, you know, make sure nobody's tailgating you too close. It seems like every accident was not the people connected us to none of them. It was their fault, except for Derek showed me the accident report for his uncle, and it says his uncle accidentally drove through a stop sign in front of a dump truck. So talk about bad timing. And that's how it got hit on the passenger side and killed his girlfriend. But yeah, it's just my mind is so blown. And then it just reminds me that, again, I told it the other day, but I'll tell you again, the weirdest thing that had ever happened in my life was a car crash related thing. It was when I was 19 years old. And it turns out that's a special number with me, 19, because I have a 19-letter name. I was born at 1919 military time. Both of my parents' names in Gematria are 67, the 19th prime, if you just do their first and last name, not their full names. And, but yeah, I was 19 years old. And it was between my freshman and sophomore year of college, and my mom wanted me to come home because she felt unsafe because a contractor had a key to her house that was working on the house, but then my mom came home early from work and found out he was ripping her off and not doing the job right and covering up what needed to be replaced. So she said that, if he wasn't willing to redo it right, that was it. And it created this big feud, but he had a key, and my mom felt threatened. So she wanted me to come home. So again, I drove all the way home from Phoenix, which is about a 20-hour drive. I drove straight through, starting in the middle of the night. And I passed out when I got home, and then I got up, and the first thing she wanted me to do was go to the store to get new locks to replace the locks so he couldn't get in the house. And I was on the way to the store to get the locks, and lo and behold, on the way there, who crashes into me? I was parked at a stop sign. This person was driving out of control and swerved into me, lost control of their vehicle, and crashed into me while stopped. And lo and behold, out of all the people in the world to crash into me, it turned out to be the same man who I'd just driven all the way from Phoenix to change the locks so that my mom could feel safe. And I mean, it's like, what is it all about? What is going on in this world? I mean, you see where a show like The Twilight Zone comes from. And I'm still not telling you guys what house number we're moving into, but I don't even have to tell you. You guys already know. It's just like, what is going on? What is going on, man? So here, let me bring this closer to me. What do you guys think? What do you guys think about all this? What do you think about all these wrecks on the 22nd? How do you make sense of all these accidents on the 22nd? Hold on. D26 had a theory. D26 says there's an astrological significance of 22nd of a month. 22nd of March, December, June, and September are the solstices and vernal equinoxes. That is true. You're right. It was a changing of the seasons. Some of you guys, I won't tell you who's got the house number right and who doesn't, but some of you definitely got it right. The person who made this shirt, her name is Dana, and I don't have her email off the top, but she makes a lot of awesome stuff. She's out in the New York area. She was actually out there. Dana, if you're watching right now, I still can't believe you didn't come up and say hi. Come on, Dana. I wore Dana's t-shirt on 9/11, and on September 10th, I also wore another t-shirt Dana made me. You guys know the GematriaEffectNews wood sign that's in the background of my office? Dana made that. Big Al has a bunch of things that Dana made. My mom has a bunch of things that Dana made. And Dana, next time I come out, you got to come say hello. She was in the crowd, but didn't say hello to me. She said she told my mom that she was there. What? Anyway, but Dana's in the community. She might even be in the chat right now. I'll look up what her email is again. And, she's a single mom, and you support her. You help out her and her child, and you help out another truth seeker. But Dana made this t-shirt. So, yeah, I haven't met her in person, but she is very cool. Yeah, you got the 19 connection as well. All right, so does anyone have a theory on this car crash 22 thing? I mean, seriously. My mind has never been more blown. Yeah, if my mom's in the chat, she might be able to look up Dana's contact information. They're Facebook friends. I heard there's a new Jeffrey Dahmer series. It's funny, we were talking about Jeffrey Dahmer because his apartment was right by Marquette. Apartment 213. That number connected to death in satanic gematria. Yeah, I miss when I was 19 too. I'd do anything to be 19 years old again. So, yeah, maybe you guys don't have the answer either. I mean, how do you answer a question like this? It's like, literally, what is going on? Yeah, the Tavistock Institute, established in 47, like the CIA, another mind control agency. Yeah, exactly. Car does equal 22. Yeah, we were glad the Bills lost. We had Miami to win that one. Nathan's going to look up Dana's info. Hey, Kayla. We need Kayla at New York next time. Shout out to Kayla and her sweet lady. Yeah, but again, if you guys got here late, I was just telling everybody to drive safe because all of a sudden, everybody and their mom is having car crashes, but they all happened on the 22nd. So, It's too far beyond coincidence for so many people to get in a car crash on the same day. Evan Peters born on 201, and his name's 201, Yeah. Yeah. Again, it just makes sense. We know what gang's been keeping us in fear all this time. Back when I was a kid, serial killers were the thing. Then terrorists were the thing. Now germs are the thing. Same number all the way. I'm in a parking lot. They had to roll down their window. It's hot out here. We got a young one next door. Don't get fired, Luxie. Well, sometimes getting fired is the best thing. Sometimes it's the best thing. Yeah, Jeffrey Dahmer's got those numbers indeed. I didn't hear about the Myles Garrett story. I missed that one. I did see that Edward Snowden got Russian citizenship by the numbers. I did see that. Edward Snowden also equals right, or his full name equals Russia. Yeah, right. The Matrix says everything is connected. We are more powerful than we know. When we are in the energy, strange things happen. Yeah, it's obvious. It's something about energy, and it's like, man, we don't. I don't think after Oklahoma City, everybody was getting in car crashes. So maybe it was just a little bit bigger this time, but it caused some kind of weird ripple effect. All right. Jonathan's going to be in the Bay Area pretty soon in 2 months. Once I get done with all this moving stuff, I do intend to hit the play button again and get back out to the cities I was supposed to have hit that got cut a little bit short. So, yeah, the Bay Area. Again, I can't wait to be in big tech with the new speakers, testing out the system. Yeah, today I'm just running a whole bunch of moving errands. I hate moving. You got to pay all these fees and all the stuff you got to do. It's just surprise fees. It's like, what? So anyway, just doing the whole moving thing right now. And actually, what I'm also doing, I finished up all the errands for today, but now I'm waiting in the parking lot for Sweet Lady. So, Sweet Lady's no longer a student. She now works. And I know a lot of you guys hated that Sweet Lady ended up going into pharmacy. It wasn't my favorite thing either. But seriously, if you wanted somebody to be a pharmacist, Sweet Lady's the one. Because you know what she's doing to everybody who comes in? They're asking for drugs, and she's going, well, what's your problem? And she tells almost everybody, she's like, oh, well, you know, with that problem, all you have to do is this. She gets frustrated, though, because nobody wants to fix their diet or walk a little bit more. Everybody just wants the cheap, easy fix, the pill. So I keep telling her, I was like, I wonder if they're going to say something to you because you're trying to persuade everybody to do something other than take the medicine. But yeah, for all of you guys who thought it would be bad that Sweet Lady's a pharmacist, I think it's good that she's a pharmacist at this point. I'm like, you know what? That's exactly what pharmacy should be. Trying to get people to do a healthy choice before they decide to take the lazy route and take the pill. But people are lazy, so let's see. Jumanji. Now, God, when I was a kid, that was a popular book, and then they made it a movie with Robin Williams. I think it's now a movie with The Rock. All I remember about that, though, is like when you play the game, it's like the African safari comes to your living room. I mean, I forget. I haven't talked about Jumanji since I was probably 10 years old, so I don't understand that reference off the. I'd have to go back and look at Jumanji to understand it. When you say, can I pay for a gematria lesson? You know, I mean, just learn from watching the videos. You know? Well, what are we doing every day? We're doing date numerology. We're showing how the stories, the words, the keywords, names, places, you know, the keyword in the story, how it syncs with the date. I mean, I don't think you need to pay me for a lesson on that. I think if you just pay attention to the videos I put out. Again, we're just, like in this case, we're just talking about how the word crash equals 22 and how there were all these weird car accidents on the 22nd, you know, after this gathering of the truth seekers. if you're trying to figure it out for sports, again, I only charge $5 a month, and you sign up for $5 a month and you watch those streams and pay attention week after week, you'll be decoding in no time. So you don't need to pay me for a private lesson. I've had a lot of people over the years offer a lot for a one-on-one lesson, and I don't feel like you need to pay me a lot for the information. And most of it out there, again, most of the free stuff you can learn from. So I'm moving because sweet lady, she was supposed to work where we lived in Yakima, but instead she's working out here 50 miles away, and she's not good at driving, and she doesn't like driving. And that's the other thing that I keep thinking about. She's the one who hasn't gotten in a car crash yet, but yeah, she gets too anxious on the freeway, and I don't want to sound racist, but when I was younger, I had a girlfriend who was Asian, way before I knew sweet lady, and she taught me the term DWA, driving while Asian. I'm sure there's plenty of Asian people who drive just great, but some Asian people are definitely challenged when it comes to driving. Sweet lady's Asian, so. Well, keep it that way. Yeah, you're 21. Hey, 22's coming up. Be careful. I haven't been in a car crash since I was 19 years old. That was the last time I was in an accident. I don't want to jinx myself either, but somebody said, wow, Zach, maybe they didn't like the DWA story. Hey, I learned that from somebody who was Asian, so to me, it's fair game. You're in driving school. Back when I was in school, back in high school days, when I was still in high school, there used to be a class offered traffic safety, and it was free. I think they still offer it, but now you have to pay like extra money. Like some classes, you have to pay extra $100 or something to take the class. But yeah, traffic safety was a free class. Back in my high school day, that was still the 90s. I turned 16 in 1999. I took that class when I was 15 though, so it was probably 1998 when I took that class. And I remember our teacher, he's a funny guy, and he'd always tell us about the one time that he got in a wreck, and it was when he was younger, and he said he was driving past the park, and he was just spending a little bit too long checking out the girls, and then he ran into the car in front of him. So, yeah, be careful, young people. It's okay to look away for a second, but know what's in the road before you look away, but don't look away too long. Don't look away too long, so. No, I turned 16 in 1999. Yeah, indeed, Holly. I'm sure it's someday you'll be glad your children drive and you don't have to shuttle them everywhere. Yeah, again, my nephews and my niece, again, their dad has a lot of money, but dad's bought them all a real nice car as soon as they hit 16. He doesn't want to shuttle them anywhere anymore. He's like, here, I don't care how much I got to spend on your car, so. Yeah, skateboarding is the best form of transportation, except for all the people that have to hear your skateboard. It's funny. I live in a retirement community right now that's super quiet, but there's somebody who's moved into the community whose nephews are there a lot, and they skateboard. And it's just funny. Every time they skateboard down the street, if I see any of the old people out, they just like give them the dirtiest looks. Like, what are you doing skateboarding in our neighborhood? But again, to me, it's good to see some young people out there. And you know what? I mean, just young people, period. Because, God, when I was a kid, everyone was skateboarding, rollerblading, bicycling, and it's less like you don't see anybody outside anymore. Your parents wouldn't let you drive until you were 18? Yeah. Well, I had a bunch of money saved up, so I got a car when I turned 16. I was out of there. Yeah, it was easier to save money when you were a kid. When I was a kid, because you got paper routes, you could work at places like Burger King and Taco Bell in the kitchen. You could push grocery stores at Kroger. I had so many jobs. I rode my bicycle to umpire all sorts of things, referee basketball games, umpire soccer. So, again, all you young people, man, you want to get out from under the nest of mom and dad. Start working hard when you're young. Save up. Do whatever you can. Mow lawns. Yeah. Just got out of the slave job, huh? Yeah, good to be done with the slave job. So yeah, we're having a stream about the organic side. I wanted to stream yesterday, but I just been busy with all the moving crap the last 2 days, and I'll be busy again when I get home. So while I sit here in the parking lot and wait for Sweet Lady to take her home, thought I'd get on here and have an old powwow. And by the way, for another thing, please nobody ever ask me to reach out to any YouTube channel again. I don't think I'm ever reaching out to any YouTuber again in my life. Every time I reach out to anybody, it's just like, I swear to God, you guys, I don't think I'm wrong. They're all paid for agents. Yesterday, I got on the stream with this guy, and then after he just was a total douche when I got on there, just playing these mind games. And then when I get off, he's like, see, I knew who that guy was, and I just wanted to show you guys that he's really a bad guy. And it's like, dude, I was patient for like 15 minutes. After 15 minutes of bullshit, I'm going to tell you to fuck off. So, and then to get in front of the audience, go, see, I told you he's a bad guy. It's like, dude, anybody who's watching you is a fucking clown. Nobody else, again, I don't care about any, people just vouching for the shittiest people over and over. Just too many people vouch for pieces of shit. This guy is a scumbag loser. I'm not even going to say his name. But, yeah, it just, F the whole fake truth community. I'm not reaching out to anybody else's YouTube channel. And either people can get on board or they can keep following these frauds. I'm done. It's just everybody has a slave job, and the rest of the people on YouTube are fakes and frauds. I'd say the only things that aren't fakes and frauds on YouTube is this Gematria community. The rest of it is trash. I wish it wasn't so, but it is. So yeah, it's just sad that, I mean, just like literally all year having these events and asking people to get out there and do stuff, and nobody comes out. Again, you guys, pretty much all the YouTubers, all they're about is ad revenue, super chats, and selling you t-shirts. They're not doing anything else. That's it. Hold on. Oh, Barbara just asked in a text message if I can cover the thing crashing into the, what was it, the moon of an asteroid or whatever it was yesterday. Something about a moon. But that's what stood out to me, right? Mondays are named after the moon, and NASA's crashing something, a satellite, something into I think it said the moon of an asteroid. I'm just like, what? The moon of an asteroid? But obviously it's some bullshit-ass ritual. Why is there a room full of people crashing some, like, multi-million-dollar piece of hardware into a moon on a Monday? I mean, it's just more bullshit like the rest of this fake truth community. So I don't know what else to say. I'm sure if I looked into it, there's even more, but I did see that headline yesterday. They said it was traveling 6 kilometers a second. See, I know where they get that from, because both moon and lunar both equal 21, right? Oh, you know what else? It was the last... No. Today's the last day of Rosh Hashanah, but it was during Rosh Hashanah. Again, the moon is so important to Jewish holidays. That's all Jewish holidays are dictated by the moon. Again, the moon's on the 19-year cycle. That's why every 19 years, the Jewish holidays fall on the same day. So 19 years ago, Rosh Hashanah would have been at this exact same time. And again, isn't it interesting that Rosh Hashanah does end today on the big Jesuit recognition day? I forget the name of the horn that they blow for Rosh Hashanah, but the name of that horn equals 95. Like how today leaves 95 days left in the year, like the Jesuits were credited to counter the 95 Theses. So yeah, I have some posts on GematriaEffectNews that I put up quickly yesterday. I forget if I was able to cover the NASA moon one. I might have snuck it in there. I definitely talked about Snowden getting his Russian citizenship. Yeah, we'll have to see where that story's going. Yeah, so the person who just left the comment about all those things happening on the 22nd, how many things that we see in the news could actually be organic? Yeah, it's a very fair point. And I do wonder the same thing. It's also like, you know, if you understand the world works, like imagine being an insurance company, right? Imagine being an insurance company and you just get to see like the nationwide patterns every single month? What if you could see, like, across, like, let's just say we're Allstate Insurance. What if you could see that every single month on the 22nd, there's way more crashes? Wouldn't that be something? I would like to figure out if we can get into some kind of databases like that and just start looking at things. Like heart attack has a certain gematria. Hold on, let me think in my head for a second. If I did it right, heart attack is 36 in the most pure cipher. A 13, 14, 20. Yeah, I think that's right. Heart attack is 36 in the most pure cipher. So there's not a 36th of the month, but there is 36 date numerology. You know, fire. Fire's 29 in the most pure cipher. Maybe there's more fires on the 20. We'd have to start looking at this. I mean, so it is possible, though. It is possible that some things that we've thought were manipulated were organic. But again, we know that there's a major level of manipulation, too. It's like everything in the media is definitely not organic. It's like they're always thumbing their nose at us. 911, not organic at all. I mean, huge ritual. But yeah, again, like I've always said, that's why in both of my books, the first book and the second book, I end both books the same way. The last chapter is about the organic side of the code. And the reason I did that is to, again, emphasize that obviously this belief, this Kabbalistic belief about God creating and operating and connecting with humanity through letters, numbers, words, that belief didn't just come from nowhere. It's not like, it's obvious that it was observed. Somebody realized something was going on, and then from there, probably more observation until it eventually became what it is. But yeah, there's an organic side and a manipulated side. And, you know, that's why certain people in the community, they don't want to talk about the organic side at all, because then it allows somebody to go, well, maybe all of it's organic. And it's like, no, all of it is obviously not organic. There's nothing organic about 9/11. There's nothing organic about, like, on the other year, Afghanistan's government collapsing by the numbers on the Jesuit birthday and just all the stuff they do every year on their ritualistic high holy days. But here, I'll tell you another. Remember the weirdest thing that happened to me in this past year on Arturo Sosa's birthday? That's November 12th. Do you guys remember what happened to me on November 12th? You didn't hear from me a lot that day until late in that day because all day I was dealing with a massive water leak. The pipe under my house exploded, and the plumber was blown away by how it happened. He's like, I've never seen anything like this. He's like, I don't even understand how this happened. But that happened on Arturo Sosa's birthday. The pipe under my house exploded, so we had no water that day. And water, it didn't leak in the house, thank God, but it went all over outside the yard. The whole front yard was like flooded with water, and it caused all the landscaping. It caused a huge problem because it eroded the landscaping under the walkway. So then I had to get all that filled back under so the walkway didn't fall in. But yeah, that just seemed weird. And the plumber was blown away by it. And I was like, on the Jesuit Superior General's birthday, this happens to my house. It's like, are they doing like some kind of spell? You know, it all makes you wonder. So, because again, seriously, like who in the world is spending more time calling out Arturo Sosa's name and putting Arturo Sosa's name in a bad light than yours truly? You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Let's see. Ever thought about conducting live seminars about gematria? In-person communication helps a lot. Yeah, I would love to do that, you know? Just like how the flat earthers have their little convention, I think it would be great if, you know, we had something like that. So. I don't know. I don't know what you mean. Don't tell me it's 666. Maybe you're behind on the stream. Are you saying the house number? I'll tell you this. The house number is not 666. So, I wonder how many people in the nation have the house number 666. I feel like they would purposely not put that on a house number. I live at old 666. I didn't see that on September 11th about Newark, but shout out to Blake. Blake noticed that they advertise at the new One World Trade Center. Look this up, you guys, when you get a second. Look up One World Trade Center and type in, Well, I think if you just search One World Trade Center, you won't even have to scroll that far down before you see it, but you'll see in the advertising for One World Trade Center, you can ride the elevator. It's like kind of like taking the Space Needle up to the top. But they say that it'll take you to the 102nd floor in 47 seconds. That's how they advertise it. The 102nd floor in 47 seconds. So, what happened here? Oh, I screwed it up. No, the weird thing about this town that I'm moving to, though, if you search Prosser, Washington on a Google search, it'll tell you the elevation is 666 feet tall, which I find funny. It's like, how can you put that as the number? Obviously, the elevation's not the same number through the whole town. Maybe at the highest point is that tall. I don't even know. Or it could just be Google manipulating data. But yeah, the good news about where I'm moving to, I think that's going to be the plan after moving forward. I think I want to get a parcel of land out here, and land's still relatively affordable out here. And, you know, maybe in time, build a living space on that. And maybe, since we already have a home here in the town, you know, maybe make that living space for somebody else in the community who wouldn't mind moving out to Prosser, Washington. And with the understanding that, listen, I'll take care of your bill, but what your job's going to do is help and maintain, create the garden that we want to have here. And as time goes on, maybe we build more living spaces, we get more truth seekers to come out here, and we keep building the garden bigger and bigger and bigger. Eventually got a root. I'd love to have a root cellar on it, because again, a root cellar is the way to, that's the way like the Amish preserve their food. You don't need power or electricity. It's the old-fashioned way to preserve food. We get some kind of thing going. We got land, we got food, we got truth seekers, we got storage. We know how to can food, preserve food. Because yeah, the one thing that's good about this community is it has really good soil. They say this place has the best soil in the whole state. And I'd rather be closer to the equator, but again, not everybody can live down by the equator, and maybe that's the way we build up our community. We end up buying parcels of land in parts of the US with the same model. You know, it starts small and it builds big, and eventually you have a number of truth seekers there. You got your own community food, and, you know, do it as efficiently and affordably as possible. But yeah, now that we're even more in the country and we're in growing land, I'm thinking that's the next step. So many things to do, though. It's like, man, pound pavement, get truth seekers together, make change, create community, have food. You know, so yeah, I did notice that Prosser, Washington does equal number of the beast as well. So I think that's part of the reason that Google says that the elevation is 666 feet. Don't forget the words truth and justice also share that 87 gematria. So we're going to make Prosser, Washington. We're going to prosper in the truth is the motto out here. Oh, I'm not giving up the truth mission. You know, just I'm going a little bit slower right now because I like you guys. I didn't think we were moving. I thought we were good to go in Yakima. I'm gonna miss our house in Yakima because I like it. We got a hops field behind us, and behind that some beautiful rolling hills and just a nice view out the back window every day. And again, things have been good while we've been in that house. So hopefully things will be good now that we're moving to this house. It's just moving sucks. And it's not an ideal time to sell the home or buy a home, really. Everything's so expensive, but I'm hoping that we'll be able to sell our house quickly and before the market tanks, and it should just be we're getting a comparable house. It's the exact same size, pretty much the same price, as long as we can sell our house before the market falls out. So it went away before I saw it. Did you say I'm a sweaty man? I might be. It's hot right now. It's hot and I don't have the air on. Well, Sweet Lady might have wanted to move to Vegas at one point, but this is where they asked her to work for now, so This is where we're going. For the person who said rent out my house, I can't rent out my house because it's in a retirement HOA community where one of the rules is the HOA is no renting your house. So I would rent out the house and we'd just get a new house, but I can't rent out the house. And I don't think it's a good time to just hang on to the house either, because it's like, it's just, everything is so iffy right now. But yeah, I probably would rent it out if that was an option. Unfortunately, it's not. Yeah, again, it's not an option right now because of the HOA. It's a retirement community where you cannot rent your property, and you also can't have any kids. Sweet lady said that in 3 years she wants to have a kid. So I'm also looking at that and I'm thinking, all right, 3 more years before I got a little one, because when I have a little one, there'll be less time for everything else. But don't worry, even when I have a little one, we'll still be on the truth seeker grind. But that's at least a few years away. Yeah, but we couldn't have done that. We couldn't have done that in the house we were in now. That was the one drawback of that house. They say that it's written in the HOA that if anybody becomes pregnant, you have to move out of the neighborhood. So they can only do that because it's a retirement community. Yeah, well, again, the HOA that we've been in, it's been good for us because it gave, again, we moved into a neighborhood that was right next to where her school was. And then she liked the idea that the neighborhood had a gate because of all that had happened at our last house in the Seattle area. So, well, I'm never going to be the big family vlogger because Sweet Lady's camera shy. What's funny? While I was moving, I was going to do it yesterday. While I was moving, it was about, I think it was 3 or maybe 4 days ago. But when you're moving, you find things that like got buried in a pile or under something that you forgot about. And you know how like if you go to a fair or a circus, like there'll be the person there that the person that'll draw the cartoon version of you. A lot of you've probably had one of those cartoon versions of you drawn before. But I found the cartoon version of Sweet Lady, and it was dated. Shout out to Ripple Effect. I see that somebody might have given a super chat later, and I might have saw it too late. Shout out to the super chatters. I appreciate it. But I found Sweet Lady's cartoon drawing, and it was dated September 26, 2015. And I found it just like a couple days before September 26th. Obviously, yesterday was September 26th. But it's just funny when that happens because you're like, man, that was 7 years ago. It feels like that was just the other day that we were. And it was from Portland. It's dated. If you're in Portland, everyone will just write PDX instead of writing Portland. It's just like the airport in Portland's PDX. But it's dated September 26, 2015, PDX. And it's sad to think that since then, man, Portland's just become a pile of trash because of Antifa and everything. It didn't have any of those problems back then. So, time is flying. Yeah. Terrence McKenna's theory was that every year time really did get faster. I don't know if time really does get faster. I think it's just as you get older. It's like if you think about it in percentages, right? Like when you're a child, it seems like time moves a lot slower. Like a school day feels so long. 6 hours at school feels like a year every day. At least it did for me. And, a year passes and you turn 9 years old, right? So, I mean, back then it seems like your birthdays are a long time apart. As you get older, it seems like your birthdays are coming too fast. Oh my God, another birthday. I'm another year older. How's it? Got even more gray hairs. Oh my God. But, I think the reason it really does get faster as you get older is just because like a year becomes a smaller increment of your life, right? When you turn 9, a year is 1/9 of your life. It's a big chunk. When you turn 40, a year is 1/40th of your life, which is a much smaller fraction. So that's my theory on why we think time gets faster as we get older. I did see that news story from about a month ago where they said scientists calculated like this year is going to be 1/1,000,000th of a second faster than last year. And it's like, okay. I don't even know who's making these calculations. Really? But, yeah, I don't know. Or maybe time really does get faster. Yeah, I just looked at somebody's comment. Somebody said, you don't need to believe in Jesus to be like Jesus. Again, what's the most important teaching in every spirituality? The golden rule. Treat other people the way you want to be treated. And it's an easy rule to follow. I think where that rule starts to get broken, shout out to Lorene. Thank you, Lorene. She said, I would love to see more uploads of what you eat. I still make the healthy ramen noodles meal that you uploaded many years ago. Yeah, again, I mean, for people who don't have a lot of money, who have to eat things like ramen noodles, again, ramen noodles, all the preservatives and stuff, that stuff's not good for you, but the way you can make the meal halfway decent is by, putting a little cilantro in it, some frozen vegetables. I need to do more research on spices because I'm starting to learning that there's certain spices that have really tremendous health benefits. I'm sure you guys are on YouTube, so you always see that guy that he's like, his videos, he's like a handsome guy and he's buff, and recently had one like hanging from the monkey bars doing curls. But I've noticed his latest ad is just telling people about, if you learn this one spice, it can really cut down on your weight loss. And I'm sure that's true because, even things like pepper, black pepper, if you guys aren't aware, black pepper is really good for your system. That's another cleanser for the body. But yeah, again, a lot of things that are not good for you, like ramen noodles, if that's all you can afford to eat, as a lot of people, I mean, when I was a college student, I was eating ramen noodles all the time. I had to pay my bills. So, but yeah, you get some cilantro in there, some broccoli in there, some onions in there, some spices. All of a sudden, it's not nearly as unhealthy as it was. For the last about year and a half, maybe even 2 years now, time does fly, I have not eaten as well as I used to. We're not eating bad, but I would, if I was single, I would not eat. I prefer not to eat animal products. I might eat some fish, wild caught fish. Farm raised fish is a different story, but I prefer to eat mostly plants because they do have more things that cleanse your body. People are getting mad. Oh, meat, you can be healthy. I mean, yeah, you can. Like free range meat, balanced with some veggies and exercise, yeah, you can obviously be healthy. But the thing is, plants have properties that clean your body. I'm not sure the healthiest meat cleans your body. It'll give you a lot of protein and nutrients and minerals. But realize, even when you're eating those animals, pretty much all those animals you eat are vegetarians. So they're getting their nutrients from vegetables as well. And then the nutrients that are in their body came from plants. So yeah, again, like Sweet Lady's decided that she needs meat in her diet because she thinks her gums and her teeth aren't healthy if she doesn't have some meat. I mean, we still mostly eat plants, but yeah, I can talk more about food and nutrition. But again, you guys, I'll always say the same thing. Make sure you're eating your vegetables. Americans do not eat vegetables. And eating that cheap, light green salad, that doesn't count. Like, a lot of people think that, like, can eat all this junk food and they'll have, like, a tiny bit of iceberg lettuce with a whole bunch of ranch on it. That does not count. You're not even eating vegetables. You got to eat dark green veggies. You got to get an assortment of veggies. And, I mean, there's other ones besides dark green, but those dark green vegetables are the ones that have the cleaners in them. And, yeah, I don't know why the average American thinks that they can just put crap in their body. Well, I guess it's because we see that the average person lives to be around 70 years old, but yeah, everybody in this country for the most part would live a lot longer if they had more vegetables in their diet. Fruits can be okay, but fruit has a lot of sugar in it, and again, most Americans already have too much sugar. Again, if you guys are trying to lose weight, I swear to God, the best thing you can do is just eat in an 8-hour window. 8-hour window. Be strict about it. If your first meal's at 9 in the morning, your last meal's at 5 at night. If you need to eat later at night, if you get off work late and you have to be eating around 8 p.m., then your first meal's got to be at noon. You eat at noon, first meal, last meal's at 8. And that's going to be hard at first if you're the type of person that snacks around the clock and you're eating from when you wake up to right when you go to bed like so many Americans do. That's not good for you. You should not be doing that, even though that's what we do in our society. It's good to go to bed after your body's digested your last meal, Eating too close to sleep time will also help you pack on the pounds. But if you can eat in an 8-hour window, you do not need to reduce your food intake and you will lose weight. You can eat the same amount of food. You just got to eat it in that 8-hour window, and you will lose a lot of weight. And the reason why is because you're giving your body a chance to detoxify and do the whole cleaning and filtration system. It just, your body, it's like, you know, I can drive this car day and night, right? It's Toyota. These are, you know, Toyotas are reliable cars. You know, I can drive back and forth across the country. But if I did that every single day, I would wear this car out a lot faster. Essentially, if you're eating all the time, you're going to wear out your body. We're machines, you guys, when you think about it. We are an organic machine. And you can wear out this machine by putting the wrong crap in it. And somebody gave a super chat real quick. I can prove Jesus is real. You can be baptized in Jesus' name. Acts 2:37 through 39. You will feel the Holy Ghost as soon as you are baptized at a United Pentecostal Apostolic Church. Well, I mean, you know what? If you guys want to try out and see if you immediately feel the presence of Jesus, try it out. I've already been baptized, so that's why they say once you're baptized, even if you renounce your faith, you're really still a part of it. So, you know, even though I'm not so crazy about the whole Christian thing, you know, I was baptized Lutheran, so. But I do appreciate the super chat. Thank you for the generosity, and, you know, to each their own. People find their way, but again, I think no matter what your religion is, Creator is connected to all of us, and if you just pay attention, you will see the signs, even though sometimes the signs can be quite confusing, like what we're talking about with all the crashes on the 22nd. And maybe that's not Creator. Maybe that's, like, again, like we said earlier, maybe that's the evil force that didn't like us coming together and trying to fight evil. But Lutherans did not baptize in Jesus' name? Well, I'd have to go back. I was a little baby, so I don't remember exactly what they said, but I'm pretty sure. Who do Lutherans baptize in if not Jesus' name? It was always about Jesus when I was in the Lutheran church. That was news to me. Okay, coming back to the food thing, though. Again, all of my food tips for everybody. Eat in an 8-hour window. Eat in an 8-hour window. Eat in an 8-hour window. If that's too hard for you, willpower, man. I don't know. I don't know why people don't have more willpower. Work on your willpower. Be more determined. What it took for me to change my diet when I was younger was knowledge and information. And again, when I was a teenager is when I started eating vegetarian, and I was vegan for a long time, and then vegetarian. Vegan's a pretty tough thing to do. It's pretty strict. You start chewing a piece of gum and somebody will be like, did you know that's not vegan? And you're like, what? Gum's not vegan? And then you look at it and you're like, wow, it has dairy in it. I didn't know that. Crazy. But I read a book when I was younger, and the book gave me all this knowledge and information about health benefits from plants that you won't find in other foods, and also just stories about how good animals can be to people and how we don't give animals enough credit. The book's called Diet for a New America. It's written by the son of the founder of Baskin and Robbins. And he talks about how his dad died early of a heart attack, and he knows his dad died early from a heart attack because he ate way too much ice cream. Ice cream will clog up your arteries. He said his dad ate a ton of ice cream every day. Go figure, Baskin and Robbins guy. And he had a short life because of it. Thank you, Ripple Effect. Okay, so I have to go get baptized again. That's going to be a tough one to disprove. Prove or disprove, it's going to be a tough one. It's like, should I set up is Jesus going to show up in the church if I get baptized? I'm surprised this wasn't on home video a long time ago. But I do appreciate your donations. I don't mean to make fun of the religion thing. It's just, I just think all this religious stuff, like putting the water on us and stuff, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if you have to go through all these rituals and be in these holy buildings with the offering plate to have these connections with Creator. Again, I don't think you have to do all that to have the spiritual connection, but maybe I'm wrong. But coming back to the food thing, again, eat in the 8-hour window. Make sure, again, what happens to us as Americans, it's obvious. Our taste buds, they get wired for processed foods, for sweet foods, for salty foods. We we get this addiction to sugar because it happens to us as children, right? Because we're going to birthday parties, our parents are bribing us with sweets, the advertisements are everywhere. I mean, we're all like addicted to sugar. And when you eat a plant, it doesn't have that big sweet taste. So we're like, ugh, that's how most people are when it comes to plants, because they expect that either that sweet or that salty, and you're not really getting that with plants. So again, if you're someone that struggles with eating things like spinach or kale, if that stuff's gross to you, you can rewire your mouth so that you like that stuff. And the way to do it at first might be using a little bit of your sweet tooth. For example, maybe to make the transition at first is make yourself a spinach salad and cut up an apple. I assume you like apples, like almost everybody likes apples, or strawberries is another option. Apples are healthier. But cut up the fruit and put it in the spinach and I like to put on like a balsamic vinaigrette, but maybe you need a sweeter dressing. Maybe you need like a raspberry vinaigrette. But to me, like if I eat a salad like that, to me, it's like eating candy. Like it tastes so good to me. I love strawberry, walnut, spinach salad, apple. There's apple vinaigrettes too. There's all sorts of dressings out there, but some are sweeter than others. But I don't know how somebody could be, I used to have a friend when I lived in Seattle named Mike, and I was always trying to get him to eat healthier, and he'd take a bite and be like, ugh, and they'd be like, can we go to Wendy's? I need a Baconator. I'm like, dude, those Baconators are going to kill you, man. But, yeah, if that doesn't taste good enough to you, just eat it anyway until it does taste good. I remember when I made the transition, though, there were a lot of vegetables. I didn't like to eat mushrooms until I read about how healthy mushrooms were. I know a lot of people think mushrooms are gross. We kind of get mushrooms kind of get a bad stigma in our culture from the beginning. Like try to scare you from all mushrooms, magic mushrooms, but God, there are poisonous mushrooms. I mean, you don't want to eat those, but mushrooms have a lot of health benefits. And the thing is, if you cut them up tiny enough and you put them in your food, it's like they're almost not even there. And, yeah, so again, you have to change your mindset. You have to be like, you know what? I'm putting this food in my body, and maybe it doesn't taste as good to me as like a bacon cheeseburger or whatever I'm used to eating. But God, I'm eating this because this is going to make it so that someday I'm not in a hospital bed dying in all this pain and illness and huge medical bills, because that's what happens, right? Isn't that like almost everybody's story in America? They have this huge, massive medical bill as they die because they're dying in pain in a hospital bed, treating some preventable illness that pretty much comes from the poor food choices they made during their lifetime. I mean, that's almost everybody's story in America. Dying in a hospital bed from something they didn't have to die from. And just because you eat well doesn't necessarily mean you'll avoid that fate, but you have a lot higher percentage chance of avoiding that fate. Again, you could be eating well and living somewhere where there's some toxic thing under your house that you didn't know about that's part of a covered up landfill from 75, 80 years ago. But again, the point is, you could also be eating a trash diet and on top of that landfill, and now you're even rushing further to your grave. By putting in something that cleanses your body, you're protecting yourself from all these toxicities that are out there. Ripple Effect says, since all your friends think I'm wrong, have them make a video proving me wrong. Hey, Ripple Effect, I really appreciate how generous you are and that you put money on your opinion. But for the record, you're welcome to continue your argument in the chat without... And again, mods, try not to block people unless they're absolutely trolls. I know a lot of people have been blocked over the years by the mods because they presented flat earth or religion, and that's not really what I'm into. But as long as people aren't being rude about it and not just spamming, you don't need to block them. And for the person who keeps giving the super chats, again, I do appreciate your generosity, but you don't have to give me a super chat every time to make your argument. I heard your point. Thank you. And I'm probably not going to go get baptized at the church unless everybody keeps crashing their car on the 22nd. And then maybe I'll just be looking for solutions. All right, I'll try it out. But yeah, just coming back to the food thing. Again, if you can eat in an 8-hour window, if you can make more plants part of your diet, if you can stop snacking. I don't think snacking is healthy, you guys. I think it's like an American thing. Our ancestors didn't snack. We snack because we're encouraged to snack, right? You go in the grocery store, there's snack food everywhere. It's a huge business. And most of us eat snacks because we're stressed out, stress eating. You know, school's stressful, work's stressful, traffic's stressful. Man, this traffic jam sucks. Good thing I just went to Costco and got a 40-pack of Doritos Crunch bags. You know what I mean? Stop buying that stuff. Like, seriously, you guys, it's good if you have money issues. Get out a piece of paper, a physical piece of paper, and a pen or a pencil, and start writing down your expenses each day. And start realizing, like, some things are necessary, right? You got to pay the rent each month. You got to have a place to live. They're going to make you pay the electric bill, the water bill, trash bill, all that. There's certain bills you can't get around. But then start looking at all the other things that you're spending money on throughout the month. Because that's what I've realized. A lot of people who I've helped out with who needed to borrow money from me over the years, and the reason I've had money over the years is because I've worked hard and saved my money. Things most people don't do. Like my buddy, one time I just had to tell my buddy, I was like, I'm not going to give you another loan because he never paid me back. And then I just realized how dumb he was with money. It was like, it annoyed me. He needed $1,000. We were like in our early 20s. I gave him $1,000. And then it was like the next day he wanted to run to Taco Bell through the drive-thru. And the dude ordered like $25 in food for himself. And then he threw away like half of it. And I was like, I didn't just loan you money so you can just go blow it at Taco Bell, dude. He's like, well, I was hungry. I was like, well, why did you order so much food that you threw away half? He's like, well, I just wanted a little bit of everything. And I was like, you know what? I don't need to help you out anymore, man. You need money and you're throwing food in the garbage can and you're spending $25 at Taco Bell on trash food? Dude, this is why you got money problems. You know, I mean, so again, you know, try not to eat out. You can save so much money by eating in. You know, you want to take. Well, how am I going to impress my lady? I got to take her out for the fancy. Man, make that fancy dinner at home. You'll probably impress her even more as long as the place doesn't look like a pigsty. So yeah, I mean, imagine you go out to a nice restaurant like a steakhouse. You want to make a steak or a nice piece of fish and a side. What's that meal going to cost you after drinks and a tip? You're going to be spending like probably at least $150. Imagine had you bought those nice top of the line steaks, made that food at home. I mean, the bill probably would have been $40 to $50, right? You saved yourself $100. So, and not just going out on dates. I mean, just it's that way every day. If you make your food at home, and that's the thing too. If you make your food at home, you know what's in the food. Part of the reason the restaurant food costs so much is because they do spend a little bit extra on the food. Like they'll put a ton of butter in the food, right? So it tastes butter. The butter makes it taste better. But is having all that butter in that food good for you? It's too much butter. It's butter overload. So, yeah, in terms of food, again, I've definitely eaten better than I have, in my opinion, at other times in my life because, again, I think it's better to have less animal proteins in your diet. That's my personal take. And for all of you guys who are saying that's the New World Order diet, yeah, maybe in recent times they're promoting more of that, but that has not been the New World Order diet. The New World Order diet's been to have you eat cheap, processed crap from fast food restaurants. That's been the New World Order thing. See, that's the thing that the New World Order is doing right now. They are actually taking like good ideas and using them as bait to get people to do things right now. Like, we're going to save the earth, you guys. But we know these people don't care about saving the earth. Just everything they do is manipulation and yeah, but yeah, I get annoyed when people are like, oh, Zach's promoting vegetarianism. That's what the New World Order wants. It's like, is that really what the New World Order's wanted for us? I don't think so. They got pig processing plants, cow processing plants, chicken processing plants everywhere. And that, by the way, that was one of the things, you know, say what you will about PETA, but back when the internet was a newer thing, PETA did put out some videos just showing what it looked like in slaughterhouses. And I saw that too as like a 16 or 17-year-old. And it made me not want to eat any of that. I was like, oh my God. It's just like, it's horrible for the animals. It's also horrible for the people that have to do that job. Can you imagine going home after you like killed 1,000 cattle in an 8-hour shift? It's just, if you guys haven't seen No Country for Old Men, I mean, or if you have seen that movie, some people have that job, but instead of doing it to people, they have to do it to cows. I got to be honest. If I had to, I think it'd be easier for me to use that. Again, if you haven't seen No Country for Old Men, you know how if you guys don't know this, there's like a, I think they actually call it a bolt gun. It's like a tool, and it shoots out a piece of metal real fast, but that's how they kill cattle in the processing plant. They put it to their head, and it shoots that thing in their head and kills them instantly. And then just in a line, they just keep doing that. Boom, 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 just kill all these cows. But No Country for Old Men, if you haven't seen that movie. But by the way, I think that's the best movie to come out in the 21st century. Arguably. It's close to the top. But the killer in that movie, who plays his part really well, he goes around killing people with that instrument. So, if I remember right, the first victim is the sheriff. But yeah, honestly, I think I'll tell you what, it'd be a lot easier for me to take that thing to the trolls of this channel's heads than the cattle people have to do in these processing plants. So, and I think that is a fair thing. Like, if you look at that stuff and see that that's going on and it bothers you and it makes you feel wrong, then do you really want to eat the meat that comes out of these processing plants? Because that's pretty much what all of us are doing. In that Diet for a New America book that was written in the 80s, he makes the argument that, like, all that negative energy that's in those food processing plants, he's like, where's that energy going? It's got to be in the food. So you're eating this food that has all this negative trauma in it, and then that's going into you. What's that doing for you? Somebody will look at that and be like, oh, that's all new age bullshit. That's not what's going on. But yeah, seriously though, you know, PETA is definitely not a perfect agency, but those videos they put out in the 90s showing what was going on in those processing plants, I mean, I'd never seen anything like that before. I didn't realize that. And then it made sense to me all of a sudden because, you know, my dad growing up, he worked for a meat company. They're not in business anymore, but they're in Portland, Oregon, Lad Wholesale Meat. And there used to be something called the Animal Liberation Front. It might still exist, I don't know, but there was a few times where they came to work and they couldn't do any deliveries that day because Animal Liberation Front set all the vehicles on fire at their company and, you know, tagged the building with ALF. And my dad would get so annoyed, he'd be like, these people are crazy. But I seriously, I understand where they were coming from, man. I mean, the whole factory farming, it is a cruel, nasty business. And back in the day, none of this existed, right? Back in the day, if you wanted to eat a chicken, you know, the chicken was probably running around out in a lot and grandma went out there and twisted its head off. And that wasn't nice either, but at least the chicken got to live its life out on the countryside, running around, you know, spreading its wings. You look at what goes on in these factory farms, the chicken just grows up in a cage that it can't even move because they don't want it to be able to move because then it gets fatter faster. It's more profitable to just make sure the chicken can't move. Well, when I was in high school, it was news that KFC had just invented the first genetically modified chicken that had legs that didn't work. So it couldn't move. So then they didn't have to put a cage around it. It just got fat real fast. And so, yeah, but I mean, I don't have any nutrition information for me specifically that you couldn't get somewhere else, you know, and many things to know in this world, but there are a lot of books out there. That there is a book called The Blood Type Diet that lets you know, like, what you should be eating more of based on your blood type. I think that there's probably a lot of truth to that. Some people's bloods prefer plants, some supposedly prefer meat, and that could make sense. I mean, if your ancestors are from Siberia where plants don't grow, your genetics might mean that you need more red meat in your diet type of thing. So then you got to know your blood type. When I went to the doctor, I recently went to the doctor for the first time in forever just to get a physical and just, you know, check my blood and just see if everything was looking A-okay. Because I was like, you know, again, I would have hated that. Everything came back. I was good and healthy. He said everything was perfect. He said, you'll probably be fine for the next 5 years as healthy as you are. I said, okay, good. But I asked him if I could check my blood type, and he goes, well, that's really expensive to do. I said, really? He said, yeah, that's not something we normally do. But so I said, so what would happen in an emergency if they needed to check my blood? He goes, well, in an emergency, they just do all that, and they find out real quick. And I was like, so anyway, I still don't know what my blood type is. My mom and dad don't know what my blood type is. Thankfully, I haven't had to know that information yet, but if you wanted to read the blood type diet, you would need to know what your blood type is. And for me, if I ever found out, I would find out. I feel like, honestly, for all of my life, no matter how I've eaten, I've always felt and been healthy because I've always exercised and been active. However, at this moment in my life, I'm the least active and I get the least exercise I ever have because, again, I'm just sitting down, typing and researching too much. But I still get enough physical well, I shouldn't say that. I don't know if I do get enough physical activity right now, but I still make a point to have physical activity every day. Every day I do at least 50 push-ups, at least 10 pull-ups, I try to walk at least a half mile each day. Every day, that's the bare minimum, but really you can do a lot more than that. So, and honestly, just doing those things, it only takes minutes each day. And, again, those minutes can pay big dividends. So, yeah, that's about all I got to add. And I see that people are starting to come out of work. So, I'm not sure what time it is right now, but Sweet Lady's probably going to come out of here in a second. Oh, it says I have 201 likes. How about that? You guys remember how earlier this year there was the mass shooting at the Kroger near me, and I drove there and I talked to Commander Lee. If you guys missed that video is now on BitChute. YouTube took it down for medical misinformation covering a mass shooting. It's like, oh, really? Medical misinformation, huh? Can't tell you how many videos I've lost for medical misinformation in the last 2 years that didn't have anything to do with medicine or misinformation for that matter. But if you recall, the weird thing about that was I noticed that the founder of Kroger died on my birthday in history, July 21st. And then the shooting was 201 days after that anniversary, which means it was also 201 days after my birthday. And now where Sweet Lady works is kind of close to where that was. And I still haven't told you the magical house number that we're moving into, which just blows my mind. So anyway, again, this moving thing, it's going on. It's been going on, and I anticipate by the middle of October, I'll be living in a new place. I'll have an internet connection, and things will get back to normal. And then I want to hit the play button too on getting back out to Atlanta and to the Bay Area and LA. So lots to do, but it will all happen in due time. And again, make sure you guys stay tuned. You never know, this channel could be suspended. We'll be on to the next channel. So make sure you keep up with the channels. It's just like when I was in New York one morning. We were getting back to the hotel about 6 a.m. And then when I was almost back, I ran into a guy on the streets of New York City who said, "Hey, aren't you Zach from YouTube?" And I said, "Yeah." And he's like, "What are you doing here?" And again, I was like, "Dude, I've been promoting it all year." He's like, "You have?" And, Sweet Lady just got out of here. But yeah, somebody ran into me in New York who didn't even know we were out there because he was on an old channel that I'm not posting on anymore. So anyway, we'll leave it there. Got to take Sweet Lady home. Thank you, everyone. Appreciate the super chatters. Appreciate all of you. And until next time, Truth Seeker. Oh, you want to say something? You're not on camera.
Oh, no, I'm not going to say anything.
What do you got to say something to him?
Hello, everybody.
Hello, everybody. How much do you like wearing braces?
Just stop.
That's why she doesn't want... Someday when she gets her braces taken off, she might come on camera with me. She's very shy about the braces. All right, Truth Seeker. Have a good night. If you're in the other part of the world, if you're D26, have a great day. And until next time.
Gotta get out of here.
Oh, they just saw you. You're on here.
Just stop.
Always tease your Sweet Lady. All right, everybody. You've seen her hands. All right, until next time.